If that's what it takes to make me smile, I'm gonna walk 100 miles.
Hi, it's Marley, and I have a celebrity-based catering and event planning company here in Los Angeles called The Party Goddess. And you might wonder what I'm doing here talking to you on a business YouTube channel. Well, I wrote a business book to solve my own problems called But Are You Making Any Money? And I wrote that book because I, like a lot of you, got into business because I loved planning events and I wanted to do something that I loved and that I was really good at. And I got into it, and then what I found was I was so busy doing all the other aspects of my business that I wasn't making any money. And sure, I was busy all the time, but I wasn't making any money. And so one day my dad asked me, okay, that's great that you got a Britney Spears and you're doing the opening of the Hollywood Bowl and all these really cool things, but are you making any money? And the answer was no. And then after I wrote my book, I realized, because I heard from so many of you, the email and social media, that you had a lot of the same problems. And so the next step in my journey here has been to create this YouTube channel. And today we are going to talk about the 5 ways that you can solve any business problem, but specifically that you can make sure you've got the right problem to solve. Because why is this important? Because so many times in business, we're not focused on the fun stuff, right? I think people should remind us, like, have fun with your business. But how do you have fun with your business? To me, the way I have fun with my business is when I'm relaxed and I feel organized and I feel like I'm on top of things. And I have to feel like I really am doing, like what Michael Gerber says, working on my business and not just in it. Now, a couple housekeeping things. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments what videos or you want to see or what you need help with in your business, because I would love to help you with that. And make sure you stay to the end, because we've got this very cool free tool that I'm going to give you that will help you for sure amp up your business, and it will also make sure that we stay in touch in the future. So stay to the end, and I'm also going to give you lots of really good resources to help. So without further ado, here are the 5 ways that you can make sure that you are solving the right problem. Okay, so number 1 is you have to make sure when you're solving any business problem that you have what I call, like, your ladder being up against the right wall. So many times I see people rushing to solve something, and I'm like, okay, that's not even as important. That to me is like, oh my gosh, I'm going to, like, I just broke a nail. It's like, you just broke a nail, but your business is like bleeding money. Like, focus over here on what is the most important thing that you need to solve. So when people say, oh, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to focus on. I don't know what to, well, the problem is because you haven't taken the time to really figure out what is the root of the problem. Why are you overwhelmed? And I know that's really hard, right? I know how hard it is to kind of self-diagnose your own problems. I talk a lot about, in this course that I created, Your Biggest Business Problem Solved, I talk a lot about how hard it is to read the label from inside the jar. And it's really easy when let's say your friend is dating somebody and they're telling you the tales of woe, and you're like, oh my God, this is so obvious. Like, the guy is such a jerk. And it's so obvious, right? But the friend can't see it because they can't read the label from inside the jar. They're inside the situation. So even though the label is right here and it says, Vicodin or whatever it says, you can't read it because you're on this side. You can't tell. So the most important thing is to figure out what problem it is you're trying to solve. And let's say that it relates to being totally overwhelmed. Well, there are lots of ways to come up with what the problem is, okay? I'm going to give you my strategy that has taken me decades to come up with, in the hopes that it's going to help you. It's got 5 steps. So first of all, and I talked about this in one of my other videos, brainstorm a list of everything that is literally bugging the daylights out of you, okay? Like, anything that comes to mind. And if you feel like you need to do it in a journal, great, do it in a journal. If you feel like you just want piece of paper after piece of paper, great. And here's the most important thing. You can't edit yourself, okay? So think of it like you're brainstorming, like you're in like some kind of great advertising agency, and you have to come up with all these new taglines like you're in an episode of Mad Men. And what do? They just brainstormed and brainstormed and brainstormed. So what I want you to do is just do this like data dump, okay? And get all this stuff out on a piece of paper and be like, if I didn't have to deal with this and this and this and this person didn't keep calling me and this high maintenance client didn't keep doing this, and literally put it all down on paper. And I'm going to give you an example of this. And I'm also going to tell you it's so cathartic, because the first step to solving problems and to really getting relief is to get them out of your head. Right? Julia Cameron talks a lot about this in her book, The Artist's Way. And she talks about how you want to write for the first 20 minutes every day, because it gets all that garbage like out of your head so that you can concentrate and focus on the good stuff. So I today actually talked to, I'm trying to think, was it today or yesterday? Maybe it was yesterday, but then I talked to her again today. So I got this client with whom I've worked before, and she just called me, and we know each other well, so it was totally appropriate. But she called me, and she was just on this tear, and she was like, Marley, I've hired this planner, and I didn't feel badly, because she hired this planner. She's not in this country, and I knew she was hiring a planner to do some components of this event, and then I was going to come in and do some other components. But she was like, you're never going to believe this girl. She's calling me every second, with these dumb questions, and she always wants to get paid. But then I say, where are my deliverables with this and this? And she doesn't have that. And she just went on and on. Okay. Now she went on and on. In reality, maybe it was 10 minutes. And I think if I had a piece of paper out and we're kind of playing therapist, I don't know, maybe she had 20 things she complained about this planner, but probably not. It was probably even closer to like 15. But a big part of it was that she just needed to get it all out of her system, right? And so I listened, most importantly. And if it were a brand new client, I probably would have written down all those notes, because I would have wanted to make sure I captured them. But in her case, I had a little bit of a running start. And then after she was just like, data dumping, I was like, okay, I get it. So it seems like the problem is she's not prioritizing the tasks. She's like henpecking you constantly. She's probably not organized herself. She doesn't have a big picture plan, and she has been procrastinating on certain things and hasn't gotten them done. But what she hasn't procrastinated on is making sure she gets paid. She was like, exactly. And she just said, like, am I just the most horrible person, going off about this? And I said, no, I've been having this conversation a lot lately, actually with my team, where one of the girls on my team, she was brought in to do some operations stuff, and I literally been like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then blah, 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 blah. But here's the deal. She didn't have any emotion around my problem. I don't have any emotion around this client's problem. To me, it's just like, cool, I'm really good at solving problems. So let me help you solve the problem. So I took in all of the information that she gave me, and going back to the whole analogy of you can't read the label from inside the jar, I knew exactly what her problem was, and I knew exactly what the problem with this planner was, and I knew exactly how to fix it for many reasons. So step one is to make sure that you data dump and write that whole list down. First of all, you will feel so much better, okay? The next thing I want you to do is I want you to kind of group everything on the list. So in her case, she was talking specifically about an issue she was having with this planner for this event. But let's say that you are just so frustrated in your business, right? You don't know where to focus. You feel like you never get anything done. It's 5 o'clock and you're like, oh my gosh, where did this day go? What do I do? So you write out all that stuff. And then what I do is I talk about like grouping the buckets, okay? So look at your list after it's all in front of you, and then say, okay, well, that's actually, okay, that's kind of like, that's a money thing. So that could go over here on this list. And that's, that's like an operations thing. And that's a staff thing. And that's a customers thing. And that's an organizational thing. Okay, we'll put that in the logistics bucket. And the point is that you take the list and you really put it into, let's say, 5 categories. Probably not going to be many more than 5 categories. If it is, you probably are getting too granular. So just kind of lump it all together into these separate sections. And then what I want you to do is order those buckets. So now let's say that you have the logistics bucket and you have the staff bucket and you have, the revenue bucket or the sales and marketing bucket. And then I want you to look at those buckets and say, okay, are a bunch of different items coming, are they all part of the same bucket? Like, does one bucket have 20 different things in it? And are those things just coming up every single day? If they are, then that might be the bucket that you want to focus on. So remember, the key thing about solving any problem is making sure you've got the right problem to solve. So group everything into your buckets, then organize your buckets, and then say, okay, it's the financial bucket I'm going to focus on the most. I did another video and I talked a lot about how I was so frustrated with my bookkeeper, et cetera, et cetera. So organize your buckets, and in my case, I decided, okay, listen, I can do all kinds of marketing and branding things, but if I don't get this one problem over here solved, everything is it's gonna be this whole domino theory, and everything's gonna crash. And I talk a lot about that in that program that I created, Your Biggest Business Problem Solved. So I go into a lot more detail, which I can't go into here, but I'm just gonna give you as many tips as I can. So organize the buckets. That's gonna tell you, okay, listen, this is the one you wanna focus on. Then I want you to challenge the order. So let's pretend that you have these buckets and you say, okay, the financial bucket is the one that I'm going to focus on. I think that is my biggest problem. And then you say, okay, but I kind of need more customers. And so you kind of play mini psychiatrist with yourself and you say, okay, but if I got all these problems solved, what would give me the biggest bang for the buck? That's always the question you ask yourself. And if it overwhelmingly is listen, if I got a great assistant who I could delegate this, and this to, then you know. And at the end of the day, the litmus test is trust your gut, okay? So you challenge the order, and then last but not least, you try to start solving that one problem, and then what you have to do, though, is make sure that it's actually the right problem, okay? So if you start down the path and you say, listen, I just really need an amazing assistant, and if I had an amazing assistant, this would all get fixed, and then you hire the assistant and it's still kind of not working and you're still plagued with all these problems over here, then you go back and repeat the process and say, I don't think I really got to the root of the problem. And that, at the end of the day, is the key thing, to get to the root of the problem. Because being overwhelmed and being frustrated and being too busy is usually not about having too many things to do on your to-do list. Quite frankly, usually it's about we're wasting our time on things that aren't going to give us the biggest bang for the buck. So keep coming back with, what could I focus on right now that would take one domino and solve all kinds of other problems? And that's how you know you've got the right problem. So those are the 5 steps to making sure that you have identified the right problem in the first place. And thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we're desperately trying to make this amazing and have 10,000 followers. We're not there yet. So please subscribe, like the video if you liked it, and comment, and most importantly, tell us what kind of videos you want to see more of. And I promised you something free. So I want you to text the word quiz, Q-U-I-Z, to 818-600-0881, and I will put that in the show notes. And that way you can take our free productivity quiz, and you can find out which cocktail you are, or which mocktail you are. Okay, so you could be a mocktail too. But yeah, take the productivity quiz, because the productivity quiz is going to give you a lot of insight into what kind of challenges you've got and really what's bugging you and what needs to get fixed in your business. So enjoy. Thanks. Until next time. And tell a friend. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't already, if you would please like this video, leave a comment if you're so inclined, but definitely subscribe to the channel so you can get more tips like this. Thanks.